So the carpet that I'm currently laying on, this stuff, was literally just now installed. If you're wondering, why do I need a new carpet? Well, this is my bedroom, and just over that way is my closet. In there is my hot water heater. And at 4 a.m. last Saturday, it decided it just didn't want to hold water anymore. So if you look at this photo on the screen, this is what my bedroom looked like on Saturday. Notice that big square in the kind of center of the room? That square had a very large box there, a wooden box, that I kept a lot of cards inside of. And if you can't tell by looking at the square, it looks like it got very, very wet. When we were moving things out of the room, one of the questions my girlfriend asked me was, do you want to open the box? Do you want to see if there's damage to anything inside? Anything like that? And I said, no, I don't. We have so much to deal with. I don't want that to know that everything in there is destroyed. I don't want that on my brain. I just want Strettershires box to believe that everything in there is potentially fine. So now, on camera for the first time, I'm going to be opening the box and seeing what damage there could be. So this here is the box. Also, I hope that everything in this video ends up being in frame. I'm doing this solo, and I can't see the screen to see if anything's lined up. But we are going to take this off. And, of course, the top is going to be fine. Most of the damage, if there is any, is going to be towards the bottom half, as this flood wasn't terrible. I'm not sure if this is... Let me see. Yeah, right here. I would say that bottom plate is probably where, like the bottom slab of wood, is probably about where the water got to. But as you can see in the photo, this was like indented into the carpet. So this, if you're wondering, while there are Pokemon ETBs in here, nothing here should be actually Pokemon. Most of these are labeled. If we take this one here, this is Teen Titans, which I did a video on a long time ago. And I imagine this little Ultra Pro thing should be perfectly fine. Oh yeah. Cards are doing fine. They're nice and dry. So yeah, everything in this box are like old, like out of print card games for the most part. You can even see right there, we have like Mega Man, we have Duel Masters there, Cowboy Bebop, just so much. All right, next in our lineup, again, one of these like plastic Ultra Pro things. It's looking like we're dry. It looks like everything here is going to be fine, but I want to make sure. So again, there was another old video on these. These are the Shaman King cards. I've actually considered doing a video going back to these things. So Shaman King was actually from the Quick Strike system. It was a weird failed card game idea. I actually pretty recently did something else on the Quick Strike system. There was Avatar, The Last Airbender cards. And these are what are known as chamber cards. I think they're the coolest part of that whole card system. Is you have like a mini card that kind of comes out of the chamber card, and it actually has a different thing on the reverse end. These are pretty cool, and I'm happy to say I did not lose any of my Shaman King chamber cards. Alright, I guess we'll grab this ETB. Nice and dry on the bottom. We have Soul Calibur. So these were from the UFS system, also pretty similar to Quick Strike. The idea was they could do a bunch of franchises and do whatever they wanted to with them. And in this case, it was a lot of fighting games. And of course, Soul Calibur is my favorite fighting game series. But also bone dry, so my decks and loose cards are all fine. Oh, okay, that one isn't, but that appears to be an issue with me putting it in the ETB. So that sucks, but it's not flood related. But yeah, these are just like some hollows and stuff if you're interested in this, now dead card game. Alright, let's grab the Shining Legends ETB here. This is Wax Packs cards, and it's also bone dry on the bottom. I don't feel like going through all of these, but I can pull a couple random ones out. They are organized though, so that'll be a bit undone. Wax Packs, if you are unfamiliar, are basically just like back when they would like mass print cards for just random crap. Like, were you like into a band or like a random TV show that barely got enough like of anything to have any potential merchandise? Well, there's a good chance that it at least had some cards made for a wax pack. They did all kinds of things. Disney was big on it, as you can see here with these Lion King cards. These are super old. And if you look at the copyright on this one, there isn't one. Cool. The other Lion King ones don't have dates. These were silly CDs. They're parodies of music CDs. These are 2001. Like, just so many of these wax pack things. Oh yeah, I actually have a sealed one in here. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I don't know why it's sealed, but I have it sealed. Oh man, from 1991. If you're wondering, most of these were done on the channel, but my earlier content kind of sucked. That's why I've considered, you know, like, taking something like, what is our next one here? Nightmare Before Christmas. Okay, this is probably not one that I would do again. But card games that I've done before in the past, that the videos were like lower quality. Like going back and getting some more of the product, you know, like getting some more packs, and then even going through the things that I had opened before in those lesser viewed, not good quality videos. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Well, I should probably actually like at least show these, right? Yeah, here's a holo Nightmare Before Christmas cards. They were pretty, I think there were 2 sets in total, both kind of smaller. Had an interesting fan base. I remember that when I first did it, there was a website for these, like an old, like, WordPress kind of website that's still around today. Someone is still paying for that domain. Oh yeah, these are even more Nightmare Before Christmas. Like, that one box was not all of it. If I can, yep, there's even more. And so far, you can see this red stuff in the bottom. I actually put that in. It's just like red felt that I stapled to the box. It's dry. I think we 100% lucked out. Power Rangers cards, the fun thing about that is that there were a lot of them. I have 2 boxes. Just full of Power Rangers cards. I wasn't even a Power Rangers kid. Oh, one of my earliest videos to ever actually get some, like, good attention was the Angry Birds cards. Now, I was pretty dumb back then. I split the video in 2. The reason that I did that, if I recall, is because it was just so tiring. Just opening this many Angry Birds cards in one video that I was like, look, I can't keep doing this. I'm done. And I ended up splitting the video in 2. I could have just filmed it on 2 different days and put them all together. But that video kind of blew up because I kind of buried the lead. I didn't say what I was opening in the video. I just titled it The Cheapest TCG to Collect, something along those lines. And then it had, like, the cards were, like, blacked out with a question mark over them. Like, oh, what is the cheapest card game to collect? Because despite the fact that there are thousands of cards in here, and the fact that I did pull all of these from packs, I probably spent maybe $20 on that video, probably less. Oh, actually, these ones were never shown on a video before. I know I'll have to hold the mic weird sometimes, it is what it is. I don't even normally use this mic on this channel. But these are like little, I don't know what you'd call them, like postcards from the Dark Crystal. They're just blank on the inside. They have a thing for the Dark Crystal there on the back end. And of course, they all come in these, like, the audio quality is probably so terrible in this video. I'm sorry. They all come in these, like, little envelopes. These were actually a thing that my girlfriend owned before I met her. I don't even know where she got them from. But they're kind of neat. I could see them having some value one day. These ones are just in a tin. Oh, these are the Duel Masters. I need to put these things in something more protective. We got some dust kind of piling up there on the top. Yeah, I don't know why I had them in here like this. This is like an easy way to get these beat up, especially because Duel Masters was like my favorite card game as a kid. Very, very expensive to get your hands on now, unless you're buying like pre-made decks, and even these can get pricey. I probably just had them in a tin because at the time I didn't really have much better storage methods. Splatter Bowl, this is like a preview card set, like it says there on the front. It's some interesting like comic book art, and then there's like a certificate of limited edition. They only made 48,000 of these, so really not unbelievably limited by any means. I think you can still get these on eBay for pretty cheap. These are just like more things for Duel Masters. I believe it's like a McDonald's thing. Yeah, it's a McDonald's thing. This one, I think... Yeah, the idea is you could put the stickers on the outside, but you would put your cards in here, and when you would roll it, it would eject cards out that little slit right there. This was like a kind of bulky deck holder, as you can see there, with some art on the front. I don't even remember what it was supposed to be. It has this green thing on the back of it, and like a thing where cards can go in. I don't remember how this was supposed to work, but you can like shoot this. Oh, yeah. If you would slide a card through that slot towards the back, it would release this green frog-looking thing, which has wheels, and it would go flying. The Cowboy Bebop. This was also a part of UFS, as you can see there on the corner. This one is pretty beat up, but I actually got it, I think, from Amazon. Again, dead card game. Okay, I tried to open it, but the box is kind of, like, weirdly shaped on the inside, so there are what the cards look like. It's similar to Soul Calibur, because it's part of the same card game. Just these ones are Cowboy Bebop themed. Aha, I'm over here now. So if you're curious about the actual flood and what was lost, this was honestly my biggest fear. There's one other thing I'm going to be doing later on that I also chose not to open that day. Yeah, these are battle cards. These were interesting. If you go back to watch any of them, this is honestly one of the ones I highly suggest, even though it's probably also still terrible quality. This is a really, really old card game. And you see those like, those weird dots, like those two there, you have on the sides and there. They're literally scratch off. You scratch those off to reveal like numbers and stats and yada yada. The whole idea behind, and that's a lot of them, the whole idea behind this card game is you didn't actually build a deck. You just purchased packs. And when you would purchase the packs, you would just pull the cards and use them as your deck. There's a version of Magic that's kind of similar. I think it's Draft. I don't play Magic anymore. It's been a very, like over 10 years. And so by actually opening all of the packs that get these cards, I not only devalued them, but I ruined the purpose of the card game to open them on video. It's an extremely old card game. I couldn't, maybe there's a date on these. Okay, 1993, so 2 years before I was born. Just a really interesting concept, and they have just like massive lore dumps on the back of these. It's interesting that this game was like forgotten to time. Although I'm sure for its time it was very expensive because you had to buy packs for every round that you played. These are Plasm, but this is the boring bulk part of this. And thank God this one is dry. I think we're good all the way through the box, at least so far. Is that on camera? No, it's not. Maybe that'll work. This is literally a comic book, so there's a little slip insert there. And then the idea is that all of the cards come together to form a giant comic. I believe that that right there is the only one that I'm missing. That is the only missing card. But the cards themselves form the comic, and so you can buy this binder to put them all in to actually make the comic itself. Well, and you could put it in your own binder, but, you know, it's more unique when it's in its official binder. Yeah, I believe it came with that as well. It was also a comic for Splatter Ball, and a special promo card there at the back of the book. I absolutely loved this concept, and I would love to see something like this done again. So I believe this one should be, yeah, that was it. I can tell by the sound it's making. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but this is a Star Wars card game that actually uses dice very heavily. I think it was like every pack had a die in it, and so there are just so many dice in here. And then here are the actual cards themselves. Of course, there was also a video done on this. This isn't some super old card game. I think it might actually still be in print today. These also came with them. The idea is that this little indent right here would be used as almost like a display for the dice. I just kind of put these zip ties around it. I know I didn't trim the leads. These zip ties are actually meant to be reusable and yada yada. It's kind of annoying though. I learned online that the people like to save these because they actually use them to ship the dice when they sell them on eBay. And should the day come that I go to sell them off, these will be useful. Next up, one that I never knew about as a kid were Beyblade cards. Just an absolute wild concept to me because, you know, the main merchandise of Beyblade is, you know, the Beyblade. Here are just some of the hollows that we had pulled. It's just odd that I thought a card game would work. It didn't, in case you're wondering. It did not last long. What's even more interesting is they actually would send them with sticker packs. Every pack, I believe, had one inside of it. And these, while you could use these to design the Beyblade itself, to put on them, they're actually designed to be put on the cards, to almost decal the card. You can see like that shape right there. You're going to have some stickers that'll coincide with that shape on the card. It's an interesting concept, and I don't know if it has anything to do with gameplay, I really doubt it, but they're basically asking you to deface the cards into the pack, and still dry all the way to that corner. So here we still have some sealed decks from Kaijudo. If you don't know what that is, this video is actually another one that did pretty well on the channel. Kaijudo was the follow-up to Duel Masters. It did not do super great, but when I released that video, I had assumed that most people were like me, and they had, like, never heard of it. No, I still get comments, like, to this day on that video. They slowly trickle in. It's not like a super blown-up video of people saying, like, hey, I loved this thing as a kid. Like, I had a couple people get insulted, because, well, they felt insulted whenever I was like, yeah, it's a dead card game. It's not wrong, it is dead, and it didn't last very long, but I think it's still a thing in Japan. No, Duel Masters is still a thing in Japan. Anyways, there's some playmats in here. Oh, sorry, it's probably not in frame. And I mean, they're just Duel Masters cards. A lot of them would even take the exact artwork from Duel Masters cards and just change the stats and change the names and just call it Kaijudo. So I'm sorry to any Kaijudo fans out there, alright? You enjoy your hobby. Next up, we have Mega Man. I am a big Mega Man fan. This is a pre-made deck from NT Warrior, and there's another deck. And here's a booster box that I opened from the exact set that those two decks came from. I was actually kind of upset because this deck, along with those two decks in this box, I bought from the same guy. He was actually selling like basically every set that way. A booster box with the two decks, that had released with it. And it was for a good price. I bought this one, and the others have sold out, and I don't see them returning to his eBay page. But yeah, we got some Mega Man card, and there's the backing of it. Copyright date 2004 Decipher Inc. I think there were 3 sets, I want to say. I actually purchased these. These are actually modern sleeves with the full intention of sleeving up the good pulls and stuff with things from the good pulls and stuff with these sleeves. And just never did. But yeah, these are like modern Dragon Shield Mega Man sleeves, while the cards are far older. I just never did it. So this is the Ghost Files Yu Yu Hakusho starter deck. Pre-constructed starter deck. From all the way back in 2003. You don't hear much about that show anymore, but it was huge when I was a kid. But then inside of this little box, we have some actual cards. And I mean, that's them. It is Yu Yu Hakusho. This was a show that existed. People watched it. There's the back. We're almost through the end, which is good because I am burning up. We have Fallout and Others. I don't remember what the and Others was about. So Fallout had done a weird series, and it's interesting because a thing was actually recently announced with a Fallout Magic the Gathering crossover. But these are not the kind of cards you're probably looking for. These are just art. I believe these were also done on the channel. I think they might have been from a Yamacon video, because I think that's where I first discovered them, or maybe I had just managed to find some at Yamacon. It's just a bunch of artwork. I'm a big fan of Fallout. I'm a bigger fan of Elder Scrolls. But, yeah, I had to sleeve all of these because they're just really cool. I don't think they're in print anymore, and they're kind of harder to come across. Even by the time I by the time I discovered that it existed, they were already a bit pricey to get your hands on. You also tend to have stuff on the back as well. Oh, ironic. My last few remaining Magic the Gathering cards are in that box as well. I believe some of these were actually opened on the channel. I was like, why not? And then some stuff from where I went to the convention. These are Genshin Impact. You would get like 1 card per pack. It's just like a character. There's another one. That's a thing for it. And then this was a Demon Slayer thing. Those 2. And I saved my favorite for last. My very tiny Fire Emblem collection. I am a massive Fire Emblem fan. All of these cards have been sleeved. This card game, it makes me so upset. Fire Emblem Cypher. This is a card game that only ever released in Japan. It was never brought here to the United States. And while that already made it pretty expensive to get your hands on, because of the fact that it was never brought to the US, they have since ended the card game. I want to say it was last year, the year before, they announced its cancellation, and immediately the price for these things shot through the roof. There's my boy Hector. We also have a lot of Lynn in here, which makes me happy, because Lynn is like one of my favorites, because she's from back in the old days. I grew up with the 2 original Fire Emblem GBA games. God, I have 3 of her. Oh, that same one. I am such a nerd for this thing, and I'm so sad that it's not a thing anymore. Actually, I have a book out in where I keep all of my books. Of Fire Emblem Cypher. It was like a bunch of the sets, so it was like a catalog of the cards. So, I lucked out. There has not been damage to the things inside. The question is, what does the underside look like? Do I need to get a new box? Ooh, that's actually still wet. It's been sitting for almost a week. It's interesting that I'm not seeing any kind of like mildew or mold buildup. Maybe there on the corner, if I can get it on frame. That's not looking super good, although it didn't really look too good on camera either. Same with that bottom right corner down there. I might just have to monitor it and see if anything starts to show up before I go putting things back in it. All right, I have no idea if I'm in frame properly. I'm just gonna lay down all the way. I have no idea what this looks like right now. If you're curious about the flood, because of this, that means that I didn't lose much. What I did lose was pretty much a week of my life. It took them about a week to be able to get the carpet in. We had to wait for the concrete to dry. We had to do all kinds of crap. Of course, I'm working this entire time too. I work a full-time job as an arcade technician. I actually work for a lot of arcades. They're all the same company. It's just, it was so much stress trying to bounce between when I need to do my job and when I need to say, hey, sorry, I can't come in. We have to work on stuff. Here's another fun little clip. Just a little cherry on top. I don't have a kitchen sink anymore either. I know it's a mess. My whole house is a mess. You can see this is done for. They were trying to do some preventative maintenance, and they were replacing the pipes with, you know, something metal instead of plastic to prevent future floods. Instead, I just don't have a kitchen sink. Everything's stacking up. By the time this video comes out, this should be functioning. Their hope is to come back tomorrow. They have to lift this up and literally saw a stuck bolt off, and replace the whole thing. And then I'll have this installed. Yes, the sink was since fixed, but it's all different kind of maintenance was done during this time, and it was a very stressful week of my life. On top of that, I started to get sick during it. If you watched the video, I'll put the thumbnail up on screen now. I said in that video while I was editing it, I was getting sick. I did. I was very ill for 2 days and then woke up perfectly fine the next day. I don't know what happened. I think it was just like a stress-induced illness. Like I was in so much pain and then just gone. Like it was never there. So for physical things that were lost, we still don't fully know. We had a bunch of clothes get soaked and those are probably gone. My ferrets loved hiding things under the bed. All those toys are pretty much destroyed, so they're not very happy. We had all of them in this giant bag, and like the first time we let them back out into our giant mess of a living room after all of this, they started trying to tear their way into the bag, and we had to stop them. So this right here was another concern of mine. I used to be very big into archery, and I still wish I was. I just don't have property to do it on anymore. Hopefully one day. But my bow was under the bed when it happened. Now, the bow itself is going to be fine. I'm more so thinking that the case may not be. I have not had the opportunity to use this thing in many years. And one thing me and my girlfriend always talk about is when we finally get a house, I want just enough property that I can build a small archery range, you know, something secure where we're not going to risk hurting anybody should something go wrong. I'd also love to get more bows. This is one that I had for most of my life. I had a little practice bow when I was a young child that was, you know, not strong enough to hurt a rabbit. This thing is much stronger. We actually have the arms, I think, flex as far as they can go. I'm guessing where it's been in storage for so long, this string will have to be replaced before it's safe to use again. But I'm not an expert anymore. Like I said, it's been forever. As far as the case goes, that is nice and dry there. And that feels dry. That might be okay. I mean, this is literally like a hunting bag. I assume that this is made to get wet, right? It seems fine. There's the actual like little quiver that you can actually put onto the side of the bow. That's where it would usually end up. And if anybody here has done archery and you like these, please explain yourself. I was gifted this and I couldn't get it, man. The whole idea is that you see those little bearings right there? Whenever you kind of pull that forward, those bearings are almost loosened. Those go right into that little loop. Then with this thing around your wrist, you pull back the bow and you basically fire it like you would a gun. You pull the trigger and it releases the string. I believe the idea is it was supposed to help with like recoil, and a lot of people use these. Like there definitely does seem to be some evidence that it helps with accuracy. I sucked with it. So the two things that I was most worried about being damaged from the flood ended up being fine. So my week of stress is not quite over. I still have to kind of rebuild my house now. It's still a giant mess. This is the first thing that I did to get it out of the way. I was like, hey, I have a giant open space to film this video, so I'm gonna do that. I might have to go to work today, which it's not supposed to be a work day, but I would like to get my house fixed. So I probably have a few more days of this stuff to go, but what matters is that There wasn't real damage. I didn't take a huge financial loss or anything like that. Everything just kind of worked out. And as far as the channel is concerned, we got at least one video out of it, and one other kind of funny video if you watch the thumbnail on screen again. But because I tend to pre-record things, I believe I haven't missed anything. There were some other projects I wanted to work on for the channel that because of this, I haven't had the time and energy to do. So it's been semi-running on autopilot for a little bit now with just some little tweaks for me. I've still been editing some stuff and stuff like that. I haven't been neglecting it, but it's been hard to fit in between everything else. Between, you know, sleeping on the living room floor. But if you guys enjoyed this video, give it a like, all of that fun crap. The next video should be a normal one. If you're wondering, this is a bonus video. I'm just gonna throw it up as fast as I can get it edited, which could even be a couple days. But hopefully you guys managed to enjoy this somehow, and hopefully I'll see all of you guys next time. Goodbye for now.